A massive welcome to Q4, where the crowd splits. Are you going to be on the winning side, which is 12 weeks of success to rock not only the final chapter of this calendar year, but to set yourself up for massive success in the coming season? Or are you going to go, holy crap, I better start planning? I better start plan to get next year the success story, because I'm watching both things happen all over the place in my network. What I love about everybody who's in this room right now is all of you have said, there's work to be done. I will stay the course. And Rook and I have collaborated before. Hands up, I know, Laura, you were there, but hands up if you came to our waterfall event and had the opportunity to see us create some magic wizardry together. I know Laura was there. Anybody else? Okay, you're in for a treat. If you guys don't know, this is my good friend Rook Daniels. He's known as Rook. What I love about him is he is the real deal. He's been in business a lot of years in the world of marketing. And
28 Monday is my 28th birthday.
28th, yes, we did. We actually planned this right around his business anniversary, because you should always throw a party.
Yes.
You should always throw a party, because every day that you choose to stay in business, awesome, Ben, thank you for that. Every day that you choose to be in business should be celebrated. You get to choose the path you're on. You get to choose how you build your business. And there's two hats that we wear in the world. There's our CEO hat and there's an employee hat. And Rook, for having survived 28 years, has learned to do this really well. So guys, I want to give you the opportunity first off to Rook to introduce himself, and then we're going to kick off to what the hell is sales? Because this is what we're talking about, making sales happen in your business today, tomorrow, and every single day. Rook, welcome to the floor.
So what's up, ladies and gentlemen? I am so thrilled to be here. This is going to be a lot of fun. So here's a couple things. We have some presentations for you, and we have some time for free flowing, meaning let's have a conversation, right? We are here to change your world. We're going to do breakout rooms, all that fun stuff. So I'll tell you what I do. Branding, marketing, and sales. I started my company 28 years ago. I've done really, really good stuff. You'll see in my I'll give you a little taste of what I do. But I am here to help champion you. I help entrepreneurs win every day. And yeah, we're here to give you our real stuff, our best stuff, no hold back, and make the fourth quarter the strongest you've ever had.
And why we wanted to do this is there's a perspective out there that it's hard in the marketplace. I've watched a lot of people buy into hard, and it makes me crazy, because you choose your hard and you're making stuff that is the easy stuff way harder than it needs to be. And so Rook and I come from sales from a shared philosophy in two different angles. And we're going to bring both of those angles today, because when you blend them, as we both blend them in our world, we create the momentum. And momentum is the name of the game. So I want to ask a question before we jump into anything, and you can either pop it in the chat. We want this to be highly interactive. You'll get more from it if you engage and come off camera, because truthfully, I will tell you this thing about cameras. People off camera make more money than those who hide. So get on camera, be in the room, be visible. But let me ask you this. When you got out of bed today, what was your number one priority? I know it was to be here, because you guys had the grace to get me on track. But what was your number one priority? Either pop it in the chat or come off mute and tell us, like, when you got out of bed today, what was your priority in your business? And I know some of you know the answer, because you've been whipped into good momentum in my ecosystem as clients, because I see some fun clients in here. But talk about it. Let's talk about this. What is your priority today? Coffee? Yep, that was high on my list too. Make money. Ben Madden, you're my favorite new friend. Network, Arlen, he's got that focus, and I'm going to be seeing him today, probably this afternoon at another event. Make offers, get clients, revenue generating activity, fix an issue. I will tell you, when I ask this question in most rooms, the answer is not sales. Actually, sales is the thing that we're avoiding like we have the plague. We're in busy work. Let me tell you a shortcut. Busy leads to broke. Broke leads to burnout. And that is an option. Your number one job every single day in your business is client growth. Your next client. So please write this down. Your next client is your biggest priority. And I can say that out loud, and I will watch my clients fight me with this tooth and nail. But I have to serve my current clients, but I have to do the emails, but I have to do my social media, but I have to go do all of these things. If you want to have revenue in the next 90 days, which is what our horizon looks like, that's why we're in this today, it comes down to finding your next client is your most important activity today, because if you don't do it, they won't arrive. If they don't arrive when your current client graduates, you will have a panic attack. So you've got to get your head around, because this is going to be really disruptive and very hard to get into the initial habit of. Your number one priority is your next client, not your current client, not all the tasks to do, not all the small distractions. And I know this, and I'm going to put Laura on the spot, because Laura is working with me in a current program of mine, and she's watching in a group that we're part of. And it's like, yeah, but I got stuck today, delivering, or I got stuck today doing some stuff, and I got stuck. It's really common to get stuck in the now. But your biggest gift that Rook and I can give you is long-term wealth, long-term client growth, 28-year success story. I've been in the world of business, gosh, at least now almost 30. I've been in my best business, this current business, 5 years. My business has doubled every year I've been in it, and doubling at a bigger number every year. And it comes down to, because we are really clear, and that's what we're going to teach you today. How do you find your next client predictably? How do you prioritize building the relationships with the person who will pay you tomorrow? Not someday. Short path to cash. So I want to ask this, because it's something that came up. It's so important. I want to ask around the room. Rook and I will respond to this first, but I want you to tell me, what do you think a lead is? Because we always talk about this. We hear this word in marketing, leads. You need leads. What the hell is a lead? Do you know? Because it's okay to say no. We honestly had a conversation, and Laura was there, where someone who's been in business 8 years came to me and said, Christine, I got to be honest, I actually don't think I know what a lead is, and I've been in business 8 years. Could you maybe describe it for me? Because it seems like if I don't get this really clear, everything else becomes harder. And again, you're choosing the path. But tell me, what do you think a lead is? Not yet, Rook. I'm going to see if anybody else wants to. Whole thought. I want to see you nail it at 28 years, because because that's a success story. Laura, tell us what you think a lead is.
Well, and this is where I've heard the conversation before, and I need to hear it again, because clarity is still important. And to me, I think a lead is this is where I want to say it's a potential buyer. So they have a problem, they're problem aware, and they've tried to solve it, and they're warm. So I don't know. Does that make sense?
So Laura thinks a lead is somebody who could be a potential buyer.
Yes.
Anybody else?
Well, an opportunity.
A lead is an opportunity. Tell me what you think an opportunity is. Describe it a little further.
It's an opportunity to share and an opportunity to discover.
Okay. So you're describing a lead as somebody who's curious.
Yes.
Curious about what?
Curious about the offer. Curious about more. Yeah.
So they're curious about being on the other side of the current reality. Okay. Greg, how about you?
So I'm going to say a lead is a somebody, a business or person who has a problem that I'd be able to solve, has the money and has the ability to take action. Just needs to be it needs to be nurtured and developed.
Okay. So somebody who's got a known problem, somebody he said something interesting, guys, pay attention. He said something, they have money to spend, and I believe I can serve them. Who else wants to describe what they think a lead is? I've got a comment in the chat, Jessica, just put it in the chat. Someone who raised their hand to say, I'm interested in what you have to offer. Anybody else want to think? What do they think a lead is? And I want you to see, like, everyone here is kind of struggling, and it's okay. And I've got some people who are clients. Greg's a past client. Laura's a current client. Erlen's been in my ecosystem a little bit, so he's heard me coach. But you notice how this isn't one answer? So if it feels a little wobbly when you're like, it's hard for me to find clients, it's hard because we don't know what we're looking for. We don't really know what a lead is, even though that's a word that's bandied around. Like, it should be crystal clear for entrepreneurs, and I will tell you I'm in business because it's not. Rook, tell me, what do you think a lead is?
So I love this conversation. All right, and I'm telling you, we're gonna have a great time because Christine, thank you very much for doing this with me, because you have a perspective, we have a perspective, I have a perspective, we're all different perspectives, and what I hope we hear is all the different perspectives, because this matters to this question. Because you got whatever your definition is, you got to know why you're defining it, right? So it's not like any of your answers are wrong. It's what are you going to do about it? I define leads with a purpose to identify the expectation. And that's where I see people get this wrong. When they say a lead is this, great, but what's that expectation? So here's my answer to you. A lead is a contact information. That's it. You got a name, email, and or phone number, LinkedIn profile linked. That is a lead. This is my world. Define it the way you want, but I'm gonna tell you, in my world, that is a lead. Now, when they start talking back to you, because you send out an email blast or a text message and they come back to you, that is an engaged lead. And that's who you pay attention to most, right? Because you buy a list of data, send out an email, those are your leads, you send out an email, those who respond back, they're now an engaged lead. Now, when they commit to meet with you, that's a prospect. And I'm sharing that with you because a lot of people say, well, I put out all this post, I put out an email to all these, the leads didn't do anything, right? Because they're not engaged yet. So that engagement means you dance with them more. That's your expectation. The prospect is a higher attention because they've committed to talk to you on your calendar. So that's even higher attention. Because a lot of people think this lead didn't do anything for me. Well, yeah, because it hasn't moved down where it needs to move down. And we'll talk about that later, but that's where I look at it. And that's just, in my opinion, a healthy expectation.
And I always think of the lead as one step in. So this is, again, I want you to hear how different everybody's is, because you've got to be clear in how you will manage your data. Where will you trigger movement? So for me, a contact, and we had Ben put in the chat, a lead is an initial point of contact in a sales funnel. So I'm going to say there is a distinct difference between a name and a person who has intent and interest. A lead is somebody who has interest. Because if you just have a contact and you've scraped data or you bought something, if you don't know that this person has interest, there's no movement. And everything about sales is movement. And it is about movement and building momentum and recognizing that it's a process. Your business stability, your long-term success will rise and fall depending on how good you are with your systems and how good you are at defining and intentionally recognizing the stepping stones in the process. So for me, a contact is just a name and phone number, but I know nothing about them. The moment I know they have interest, they become a lead. And so there's a lot of things that happen when we're talking about that first spark of movement. We as business owners want only to talk to people who have interest in what we can help them to create a result around. No value having a contact with somebody who does not have a potential sale attached to if our goal here is revenue. Okay, if there are opportunities that are beyond revenue, give people good opportunity to be in your network, but really distinguish to, am I seeing them with intent for service or not? Because our goal is sales. We've got to be very clear that we put people in this lead category, and then what will we do with it? Does that make sense? Because if they're not interested and there's no level of intent and there's no level of, I want that problem solved, is that person valuable to you when it comes to revenue? Not in the short term. And I need you to focus on the short-term wins, because when you're stuck in overwhelm, I hear you're not winning. We got to get you winning. So for you, one of your homeworks is to spend time today really thinking about how you define lead for your business. Because if you are going to have team, you're going to have systems, you're going to have good or even better success, it comes down to you being clear. Am I sorting them? Like I said, we're sorted in Q4 to those that will plan and those that will work. You're looking to sort your people and make a determination. This is instinct based on your own intent. This is the lane I'm sorting you in, and I will take a next step according to your first assessment. Clear?
And I love that. I love that. And the power of that, I just want to point at the power of that, because we have different definitions, and you got to do what feels good for you, how you define it. But that next step, right? It's not that how you define it is, okay, that's a lead. It's what is that step trigger for your business and your sales cycle?
Yes, because you got to recognize the stats are really big. We know it, ZMOT, zero moment of truth. On average, before somebody's visible, they've taken 7 to 12 touch points of your ecosystem. They're responding, and they're not, you have to make sure you're clear. How will I move them? How will I engage them? How will I ask them? How will I invite them? That's your process in real life. It's a lot of steps. And we can talk about that being really overwhelming. And that's why we've got Rook here, which is I can also automate some of this. I can plan for some of this. I can give context and choose your own adventure playbooks around this. And we're going to talk about that this morning. But I want you to really start with really clear in the beginning, what is a lead for you? Because everything gets easier once you're clear what you're looking for. Because our goal is to move them from curious to paid client. And I will take you specifically through how we do that and how do we sort people, but I want you to get your sorting hat on, because what works for one person will not be something that necessarily will work for everyone. If you've ever heard of a marketing tactic, it works. If you've ever heard of a sales script, it works. Whether it works for you or not is not a direct parallel. We all sell differently. We all bring our own special sauce opinion to the table. And I want you to hear this. You get hired for your opinion about how to achieve the result the client seeks. Clients don't pay for you to be cute. They don't pay for your awesome logos. They don't pay for your color palette. They pay for the result they want, and they believe you know how to get it. More importantly, you know how to guide, teach, or support them to get it for themselves. They don't care that you can get it for you for very long. They care a lot, and they'll put money in your pocket, and they'll work with you long term if they believe they can get the result for themselves. And you're the safest bet to do that with. So I want to ask you, Rook, right now, what's working? What's your best sales tactic that works right now in the current marketplace?
Yeah, so the best sales tactic so let me tell you why I think that this will give you a profound perspective of this. So one of the things that we do is we do sales calls. I have a whole sales team, and we do this thing picking up the phone. And the first thing you say, hi, I'm Rook with Game Changers, and we're doing this cool networking thing. I loved it. And the first thing the person's going to go, what? And the what means a lot of things to some people. What, like, oh gosh, I got to repeat myself, what, they didn't hear me. And that what is a point. How you handle an answer makes all the difference. So what you actually say to someone in the beginning doesn't matter. And this is either emails, text messages, phone calls, direct messages on LinkedIn. It doesn't really matter because them knowing you doesn't matter. What matters is that they know you know them. And so what's working the best is going, hey, well, Rook with Game Changer, we're doing this cool thing. By the way, I love how you're mixing this and this. That is freaking brilliant. Then they listen. So the best thing that's working right now is not that they know you, is that they know that you know them and that you can articulate to them, I see you, I hear you, and I love what you're doing over here. They'll pay attention to you all day long.
I love that because we get so caught, especially when we're not winning a lot of sales or we're not having a lot of sales calls, or it seems like we're going to be moving towards sales, but it's not a day-to-day thing, is it's not relevant who you are yet. It's not relevant the name of your company. Seriously, almost ever. Do any of you know the name of my company? One of you. Not all of you are here. You didn't come because, and truthfully, I build under a personal brand. That's a choice. But my company's not relevant. So when I say hi, my full name, and I've got 3, so like it can take, quite a few seconds. And then I go into my business, which also has several names. You're like, oh my God, get out of here. So not relevant. What matters is that your first impression with a lead is, I want to impress you that I know who you are. Okay, that's so simple. And you've probably never thought of it that way because you're like, I want to make this about me. And you're like, no, I want to show you that I want to make this about you. I want this to be about your results. I want this to be about your success. I want this to be about what you need next. And that's why, and you may have missed it, but we're so old school because it works. And I know Greg does this well. I'm going to call you. And Ria's been on the phone with me. Laura's been on the phone with me. And they know it. I've called them. I've left messages. I've been voice orientated because it's human. And what's really important when you hear this is your best tactic is to make it about them. And I know we know this, but audit yourself. And then likely you'll be cringing. How much of your day-to-day do you really get out of bed making it about somebody else? You think about your tasks, your things, your voice, your story, your this, your that. And it's easy to fall into that trap. But it is a trap. It doesn't lead to sales success. I get out of bed and the first thing I think about, today's going to be a great day and there's somebody I can serve. And somebody told me this many years ago, and I know many of you have heard the story. There's a Post-it note that used to live on my wall when my desk was over or facing the other direction. And when I decided to become a business owner and a consultant, helping emerging business owners solve client success, my friend Kellen said to me, never look for clients. Never look for leads. Look for people to support, problems to solve, and ways I can contribute. And when you do that, you'll never work and you'll never struggle to find clients. And I kept that Post-it note for years and I talk about it a lot, but it has shaped my philosophy. I am not here to feel emotionally attached to whether you say yes or no to hiring me or to hiring Rook or to hiring any service provider. You do you, boo. But I am here to help you say, if I could be of service to you, if I can help you feel seen, if I can guide you to the results you want, is that not worth a conversation? And I let people respond. So I'm running a group program right now. It's my 30-day client enrollment lead sprint. Laura's been through it. And everybody's fighting me saying, you keep saying phone people. Can I avoid that? I would never be comfortable talking. I would never be comfortable with somebody phone me. And it feels like it's cold. I hate the idea of cold calling. I said, these are leads people. They've said to you, I have a problem and I'm interested in a solution. And I've found you. And you're responding by saying, I see you. It's not cold at all. They put up their hand, they engage with you, and you're saying, I've been watching and you asked for help. Can I help you? Let's talk about that. So if these people are leads for you, they've said to you, I have intent to solve a problem and I think you can help. Does that make it easier to call them? Yeah, it does. Rook, you got something to say?
Well, I have a question.
Sure.
Oh, you're just hitting my jams. I love this. So, one, who by hands? Wait, you can't leave, Laura. By hands. First, I do want to say, I feed off your faces and expressions. So I know Christine does. So everybody who's like in like the camera's off, if you could come on camera, allows us to do a better job. Please, thank you, love you. By hands, who here actually does calls, like phone calls? Oh, you rock
I know I
star.
love you people.
All right. I love that. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I just wanted to know because I have stories about this because we do phone calls all day long. But you tell me when because I can geek out on this.
Well, this is the key. And I will tell you the thing about phone calls is I love that all your hands went up because you are awesome.
You guys are you're gonna win.
You're going to win. And I will tell
You
you
are.
this though, because it's foreshadowing. Because let me ask the second question. How many people made phone calls yesterday?
Oh, look at y'all! I know some of
How
y'all
many
did, but that's a
people
great
made
question.
phone calls the day before yesterday? How many have a call list for today? This is the key difference. We all know it's where you make the money. And it is easy to be the employee that takes an extra long lunch break. You've got to remember as the CEO of your business that sometimes you need to give your butt a shake and say you've gotten off track with phone calls. It is how you feed yourself, get on the train again. Because this is true in my business, and I'll own this. I've been in business 5 years. I know phone calls is where the money's made. And I will be honest, I do have so much travel in my life that I'm not always every day making phone calls. I do have something that happens in my business every day, and we rely on some automation to support that. But when I get back out of rhythm, I have a mountain to climb. And sometimes I dog it. And that's why I pay somebody. I have 2 mentors I pay big bucks. I spend more than $50,000 a year on their services for them to say, Christine, just go do the damn work and make the phone calls. I write a check for them to make that simple statement to me, and they probably make it to me at least once a quarter. Stop dogging it and go do the damn work you know works. And I'm like, right. So know yourself. Know what a lead is for you. Know what it means to make the sale and have the discipline to schedule it and automate it because it is where the money's made. And I'll tell you, the people that are going to watch the replay, I would not bet the same odds that we have the same amount of hands that go up. Who else wants to make that bet? The people in the room doing the work are here. And the people in the audience that will watch this replay, I want you to schedule your time and hear how people win is with phone calls. It's still an important part of the deal. So I want to ask you one other question, and then I'm going to take you through some training, and then we're going to get you into a breakout room, but I want to set the orientation before we do that. Rook is a master wizard, but how do you close deals that don't feel icky and weird and artificial? How do you do it?
Me?
Yeah.
Asking the wizard. That is my Voldemort wand. It's real.
Love it.
Well, you know, real as real can be.
It's real as really a Harry Potter real.
It's as real as a purchase item from Universal Studios could be. So you know, what I love to do is it's a collaborative. I love selling collaboratively. You know, I believe fundamentally it's not know, like, and trust as like, trust, and then I care to get to know you. And understanding that to get into a deal that's not gross is there's 3 closes. And most people look at the close as the check, right? And signing the agreement, that's the close. I look at it a little bit different. I look at it as first, you got to close them on that you're the one. that they like you, they get along with you, you can jam together. Then you got to close them on the solution. And that solution is a back and forth that you both brainstorm. Now you're the expert, you know where it's going, that's great, but you got to bring them along the line. It's not like, well, here's my packages, which one do you want? So no, like, well, what do you really need? And let's talk about how we can get you there. And so that's the collaborative close. And then the finances is the third close. And what I say to you is if one of those are off, go back to the step right before that. So you close them on you first, then the solution, and then the finances.
I love it, guys. Think about how important all three elements of those are to the outcome. Have you ever thought about it that way? And when you look at your business right now, I'd like for people to comment here. When you look about your business, what's the close of those three that Rook uses? Am I the must hire? Is my solution the right one? Which means don't give them a menu, give them a recommendation. And is it a money or finance thing? When you look at your business right now, what's the piece that you win at? So tell us where you're winning, where you're like, I feel I do this the strongest of all three. Pop in the chat. What are you winning at? Because you're going to go play with the people here live, and we want you to win in the room and them to see you win so they can learn from what you're winning at. What are you winning at? Pop it in the chat. I know how to position myself as the must hire. I know how to handle the solution and having a recommendation. Or are you winning with, I know how to handle money conversations?
Can I ask you a
Winning it
question?
all. I love it, Karis. Me and the solution.
Do you
I
have
can
time
handle
for
the
a quick
solution.
question?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you said, am I the must hire? Give them a recommendation. There was a third point.
Then manage the money.
Manage the money.
Have a money conversation, financing. I have the knowledge of the solution. We've got some solution people here. They're really clear on the how, or really clear on the solution. It's okay to have a really strong place. Play to where you're winning. I think the worst business corporate advice is like play to their like always work on your sucky pit. Like, it's the performance improvement plan. I actually say go win where you're winning, but recognize all three have a role. I am becoming the must hire and I give them recommendations. A lot of my content on social media, if you're not following me now, Christine Campbell Rappin on all platforms, we've been talking a lot about managing the money conversation. So if you need tips on the money, because no one here in the room said, I love having the money conversation. I know how to handle the money conversation. I'm going to say, go watch my social media and save some of the shorts. They're all less than a minute so that you can have, how do I handle this? Because here's the story about money. When it comes to a result, it's never going to be about what's in the budget. It's going to be, how will I find the money? Because if somebody's got a problem for so long that they've budgeted for it, think about how long that problem's really been there. I never have the budget for money I'm spending. It doesn't mean I don't spend it. Did you budget today for your furnace to die? But would you find the money to fix the furnace? It's about motivation, not about finance, not about budget. It's about how will I appropriate my resources, and I will appropriate resources if the solution is right and you're my choice. And I will find a way to make this work. So for me, when I look at how do we close deals, I'm really clear on two things. If you're a lead, which means you've shown up in my ecosystem, I've said something, you've responded to, and intent is in the room. My job is to invite. Always get your ask on. I have to have a clear ask, and I have to have a clear recommendation, which leads to this, a decision. There's no offer that doesn't have a decision. Otherwise, you're educating, you're theorizing, you're fluffing. But somebody needs you to lead. And last week I was in a workshop with my coach, and we were talking about the wheel of life. How you do one thing is how you do everything. How you show up in your business, how you schedule your priorities impact how you live. I believe your business should feel like oxygen. I believe you should call your people. I believe you should lead them strongly. And I believe you should have your own opinion. Because to Rook's point, you deciding I'm the must hire means you resonate with my opinion. Doesn't mean it's going to be comfortable, but you believe in the North Star I'm turning for you on. Number two, I'm really clear. What's the solution I recommend for you? That's me making the ask. I will give you the recommendation. I ask you to make a decision. And thirdly, I'm going to say, how does this economically make sense? And I want to just tackle one thing before we're going to go into the actual training that I'm going to deliver, and we're going to kick you off into some educating here. Want you to hear this really clearly. People need to be led. They need to be told in some clear language what the options are and to make a decision. And you're there to invite them to do that. That's a little uncomfortable sometimes in sales. That's why a lot of people really struggle with that ownership. I'm not offended if you don't say yes. I'm not offended at all. I know this truth, though. If you have a problem, you only have two choices. Again, we split the room. You can keep the problem. No shade, that's a choice. You're living it now. Or you can solve the problem. So my job is to ask, what are you doing? Solving the problem or keeping the problem? And if I'm the must hire, my solution is good. Solving the problem, it's the nearest pathway, is the one I am presenting. You have to believe in it. If you don't believe in your offers, you don't believe in who you are, you don't believe in this. When you go up and you have that beautiful gift of, I'm actually here in service of you, it doesn't work. So let's be congruent. I love it. Jessica shared, I am winning. If they know me, they love me, solution is easy. The money is always there if they see the value. We need to focus our better, for sure. And that's what we're working on. So any questions, anything we've shared, and then I want to tell you a little bit further about where I believe sales success lies. Any ahas? Anything you want to share first? Take the stage. Okay. Cat's got your tongue. Let me take you through what I want to share with you because I think it's important. One of the things that is the origin of my business, I never set out to build the business I have now. Truthfully, I was very one-directional. I wanted to be a great entrepreneur. That was my goal. I want to just be great as my own business. And I kept getting a lot of invitations for coffee, glasses of wine, if you know me socially. And people were like, how are you building a business 1 hour a day? And I was building my business 1 hour a day. And the 1 hour a day is still a very big part of how I approach my business. It is not about showing up as an employee. I am an employee in my organization, yes. And sometimes she's the CEO needs to give me a hard dramatic context. But I want you to know this. People would call me because they said, how are you winning 1 hour a day? And I want you to win 1 hour a day because 1 hour a day stacked is going to be substantially more than most people get. Because I watch so many businesses struggle with this, what we call income roller coaster. Hands up if you believe you're living on an income roller coaster to some degree right now. Yeah. You've got some good moments, got some moments that are quieter, and it's a little volatile. Well, volatile is a sign that your systems are not consistently adhered to, or you don't yet have good systems. And I said it before, systems will be the pathway to stability, but you must set your business up as a business. And I don't just mean legally, I mean with the intent of running it like a business in the lane you choose that feels like oxygen, finding leads that are appropriate to you, that you go, I can't wait to serve. because it will reward you well when you do. And so many people want this to be easy. And I will say it is simple, but not easy. And it certainly isn't effortless. So effort in the right places is what matters. And sales, what did I say already? Your number one priority is your next client. Always. So there's two things that will predict your revenue in the next 90 days. And you might be going, well, why 90 days? We're in Q4. This is specifically a conversation about Q4. And the 12-week year is one of my favorite books. If you've not read it, you need to stop thinking everything's so complicated and so far and so like overwhelming. Read the 12-week year. It's one of my favorite books. But the truth is, for most businesses, it's not a one-date experience. Your lead talking to you once typically doesn't result in an immediate sale. You have to know, like, trust, and show you care. So on average, it takes 90 days to go from first contact to paid client. Is it always 90 days? No. If you're not consistent with your systems, is 90 days a real good success story? Yes. And if you want to shorten it, build better systems. Number one, your business is built on strangers. Okay, this has to be talked about more often than it is. Your business is always built on strangers, and your number one priority is finding the next client, which means you must have a really good plan that you execute every single day, saying, I am looking to find my people, my leads. And you should be tracking how many leads did you find today. So I want to ask, because you guys were all making phone calls yesterday, pop in the chat. How many leads did you attract to your business yesterday? Who can tell me right now? How many leads did they attract and add into their business yesterday? Pop in the chat. I'll give you guys a minute. Do you have dashboards? Take a look. Ben's got 1. Arlen's got 2. Karis has got 5. Rook's got 25. 5 for Kristen. I love that you can track this. Because one of the things that we really recognize when we're building out consistent client growth is, 1, most people aren't tracking. And 2, they're not clear on what a lead is. But your job is to be clear. You're here to track leads, to spend time focused on lead generation. And there's a million ways to do this. But we have to start with a piece of math. If you don't know how many people you need, how do you know how many people to find and attract? And it's not about any contact. So let's also be clear. That's why we set you up with asking what's the difference and what do you think a lead is? If these people do not have buyer attributes, they can be really distracting and they can make you think you're on track when you're not. But the first piece is, this is a math driver. Almost every business I know needs more leads, my business included. More leads of the higher quality creates a success stability. And stability is the name of the game. But if you only have them, you don't have a business success story yet. And when we run our Turn On Your Client Waterfall event, which is where Rook and I were last collaborating before this moment, it's people think they have a marketing problem. And I said, cool, you probably do. Let's fix the marketing problem. How do we identify the right people who have intent to solve a problem? But once we have this name or this phone number or this email address, we don't have a sale yet. So you have to recognize you have a marketing need, which is generating the first point of contact, but you also have to have a sales conversation. And an offer has to be made. And let's also be clear what an offer is. An offer is not, buy my stuff. Here's a menu. Self-select. An offer is a very direct exchange. I am giving you a recommended solution. That's what point 2 Rook just talked about. I am bought into the solution I'm recommending, and I'm asking you to make a decision. So you should be tracking. So now I want to ask, pop in the chat, how many offers did you make yesterday that were money? because there's multiple levels of offers. The highest value in the game of business is the paid offer, but there might be other offers. An offer could be to a call, to a resource, to an event. There's a lot of different offers you can be making, and all those offers are in that momentum pathway. But the ultimate offer is a money one. So how many money offers did you make yesterday? Okay, Jessica's saying 20. Tanisha's saying she made 17. Laura made 0. Kirsten made 0. Greg made 1. 3 for Louise. 1 for Arlen. 16 for Rook. You should be clear and easily able to say how many offers you made. Because if you want to improve and create even more success in business, these two things will predict your results. And there will be periods in your business, so let's normalize this, when the answers are 0. I have periods in my business where I did not meet anybody in my day, new. I did not make any money offers, but I know this truth. The longer I stay not focused on these two predictors, the bigger volatile roller coaster I create for myself. And so I have an obligation as the CEO of my business to take a course correction and say, get back on track. So that's why I hire a mentor, because she tells me, get back on track. Right, thank you. I needed to just hear that. How you lead the offer, how many people you're meeting, and the quality index around this is the simplest way I can tell you how to build a business. Because if these two things are not your number 1 and number 2 priority, and it's doing all the noise instead, you're busy going to Brokeville and will lead yourself to burnout. So when it comes to approaching this, I tell people that there's 5 foundations every business on the planet lives by. And this is based on my experience of working with 400 companies in my career to date. Some of them I've been employees with, sometimes I have mentored, sometimes I have consulted with them, but they've all given me access to their sales performance. These are the things that every business needs. And depending on where you are in your journey, you should be auditing, how do I stack and measure myself on the wheel of success? I'm going to talk about the first 3 because they are very much drivers of sales. And the last 2 are very much about building myself a sellable asset. You can have one without the other. You might want both, but that's okay. I don't want to add things that you don't need yet. And we're going to talk about sales, so I'm going to keep this very neat and cute. Your ability to spot a lead, to spot a potential buyer, is a muscle you must build. One of the biggest mistakes I see business owners make is that they fall out of sequence with their next customer because they're solely focused on serving their current. And there's a difference. Your current client already decided you were the must hire, your solution was the right one, and it could be worth the money I paid you. But your next client isn't in the same space. They may not have decided you're the must hire. They may not decided that you are the right solution, or even within your solution offer, which one is the best path. And they're still wobbling around, ooh, that's money. They're in deciding phase. Do you notice the difference in tempo, in time, in language between a decided person and a deciding person? And where businesses stall themselves over time is they gravitate to the crowd who applauds them, the current client. When you get wobbly, let your current clients tell you how awesome you are. Absolutely. But your advocate, number 1 priority is to get through to the deciding crowd and to use influence, invitation, and confidence around what you are, who you are, how you want to play, and the result you stand for, so you can spark the lead to raise their hand and invite them to move. So let me ask, on a scale, one being super, one being not super, two rather being not super, how confident are you you can spot the lead for your business based on how you're defining it? I'm super good. I have got X-ray Superman vision, or truthfully, I pick some bad eggs pretty consistently. I'm not as good at this as I would like to be, because we're going to help you get even better at this today. So we've got to mix it 1 and 2. 1.5. I love it. Straddle the fence. So this is key. Okay, we have to solve this, and we're going to help. Rook's going to got some great tools, and you're going to have some working exercises in this morning session to help you get clear on spotting. What do you see? What are you learning from? But once you spot them, it's all about momentum. It's all about planning the journey that will take somebody from curious to paid client. Please remember, these are humans. They have a lot of distractions, a lot of priorities, a lot of built-in habits, even ones that don't serve them. You have to plan for the human journey and for it to be multi-step and for it to not be a straight line, and to recognize that people will go off track, skip 3 chapters, go back in circles, and all you need to remember is this: you had a problem. I can help guide you to a solution. And when I do that, you'll make a decision. Keep the problem or solve the problem. So your ability to map this is key. And I want to just be clear, this is a strategy here. This is the way I do it. This is my formula, my system. And I don't mean me, Christine, I mean you as the business owner finding your pathway, because you have to put your blinkers on and run your game. I think one of the biggest challenges I see when people wobble is that they think the answer is a new shiny object, and you're constantly changing your direction. And if you're constantly changing your direction, all the goodwill, all the momentum, all the awareness gets lost and confused buyers don't move. So it's like you can prune distractions. You can prune things. It's like, I know one way people hire me. They hear me, experience me, or they know somebody who has heard me or experienced me and they refer me. So I stay in that lane because that's the lane that wins for me. So I want you to hear this. Please do less and win more in your lane. Third thing that's really essential that you cannot skip is it is up to you to lead the offer. Okay, stop being passive aggressive. I was at this workshop I told you last week, and the most shocking event that was for me highly confronting was they brought in a dominatrix. And I was like, yep, I'm sorry. What are we doing here? I'm super confused. And it's going to be really uncomfortable. And she walks in. She's beautiful, 6 foot, gorgeous woman. And she's like, I understand you guys have a problem with leads. So we're going to talk about leading. Because I want you to just hear that for a second. That statement was pretty bold. You want to talk about leads. Don't forget your job is to lead them. Okay? They put up their hand, but they're looking for you to lead them, which means you also need leadership. And she's like, people need to be invited. They need to be told what to do. And there is an equal role play between the leader and the follower, and both are permission-based. You need, to Rook's point, have those mini yeses. Yeses on, am I the must hire? Yes, I am inviting you to follow me. To the offer. Yes, I believe in the offer. Great, now let's solve the money. This is leadership of the lead. And you must be in charge. You've got to believe in what you're offering. You've got to be bold in your ask. And you must have a level of care that you're creating and communicating and understanding the value in the eye of the follower, the buyer. And you don't need to guess this, you just need to have a conversation around it. When people come to me and say, I want to build a business, I said, why do you want to commercialize your ideas? What does having commercial success as a business owner mean for you? What will you do with that success? How will you show up as a successful leader? What will you feel, embody, experience? Why is that compelling? Why is that non-negotiable? I ask all those questions before I make an offer. Because I need to understand that if I understand and catch the vision you want, you're gifting me to hold it until you can hold it for yourself. That's the skill I bring as a mentor. I'll hold your vision. I'll build it with you. I'm not going to do the work for you. But it's important you recognize here that leads require leadership, and you must lead the offer. It should be simple, direct, and easy to understand. Simpler is better. And I want you to know that you need to be looking at buyers. And this is the final piece of this puzzle. And then we're going to give you the opportunity to go play. And when I asked you all what a lead was, some of you got this, and some of you, of course, have been in my ecosystem and have been clients and understand how I see this. But at the very simple thing, a buyer is a decision maker. Okay, if they're not in a place to make a decision, they're not yet ready for an offer. So wait. Okay, sometimes we vomit offers out that are premature. But a buyer is a decision maker. And I heard something quite profound from one of my peers this week in a workshop he was running, and said, just because I have a problem doesn't mean I want to solve it. So here's what a buyer is looking for. First off, I know I have a problem. Okay. Your job is not to convince them they have a problem they don't know they have. Doing so is a very long runway to success in sales. Can you get there? 100%. But it is easy to curate and tap into an existing demand than for you to create it. So go where they already know they have a problem and recognize the problem they think they have, which isn't maybe the problem you think they have. True story, right? Just because it's a problem you think they have doesn't mean they think they have it. So what's the problem they perceive? Because you'll remember showing up in service of the problem they want to solve. And your first win has to be a problem they want solved, or they don't recognize the value. But because they're already aware of the problem, chances are, I'd bet my bottom dollar they've tried to solve it. So evidence of sales behavior is a good sign. So you ask them, how did you try to solve this? I Googled it, I Pinterested it, I Facebooked it, I asked my Aunt Sally, I went and hired somebody, I listened to a podcast, I looked up in a book, I did all millions of other things. That should be a huge signal for you that thinks, oh my gosh, great, I'm talking to a buyer. Don't get scared when people said they wasted money. The evidence they spent it is a good sign. We want to ensure they feel confident and will get the ROI when they hire us. But it's a good sign. But because they have tried something, you need to ask a really simple question. Why didn't it work to the satisfaction of you? Chances are they moved a needle, but they weren't satisfied. So I always ask people, so what have you tried? Why are we still having this conversation? There's a dissatisfaction, a gap between my expectation and my reality. And if there's not, we can't close a deal. We can't get incrementally better. So they know they have a problem. They've tried to solve it, and there's still a dissatisfaction at their current reality. And I want to dig in and understand that. And if I know I can bridge that gap, I should feel anticipation, because wow, I get somebody I can serve. Third thing, they have to want to do the work. And to be fair, let's put an asterisk on this. I'm a human. I want to do as little as possible. I want to make it as easy as possible. And I also know the elephant in the room, it's probably not going to be as easy as I want it to be, because if it was, I'd already have it. But you need to be really clear and ask this question in very simple grade 5 language. Do you want to solve the problem? That's the first buy-in for me. When I'm selling, it's the first buy-in. So we're here. You told me you want more clients. You've told me you've tried to solve it. And I'm going to ask you really straightforward, do you want to solve it now? What are you prepared to do to solve it now? Have you got a budget for this? Have you got money set aside for this? How fast is the runway? I'm going to ask all kinds of questions around this, and I'm going to listen. And if I think that you are committed, I'm going to say, would you like me to make an offer? I have a recommendation that would get you satisfied, wanting more. And if they don't say yes, we don't make the offer. And we never have a situation in my business, as all of you know, nobody stumbles into clients with us. All of you have asked, I'd like you to make me an offer. And I'm always ready to have that conversation. So I want you to be clear with what a buyer is. I want you to be clear what a lead is. And to Rook's point, I want you to find a sales tactic that works for you and win in it. So we want to bring you into a group. I'm going to bring out some breakout rooms. Give me a second to stop and share this, because I want you to go into a conversation with your peers. I want you to share the following questions, following statements. Remember, first impressions. This is a room. Lots of you don't know each other. This is the result I stand for. This is the result I stand for. This is what makes a great lead. This is what's happening. Describe the context. And as an audience, peer advisory here, you're listening for how clear is that? Do I know somebody who has that pattern? Can I introduce them? And you want to be inviting people to a next step. I want you to role play here. You're in a room, maybe someone in this room, you're not selling to each other, but I want you to use the example because yes, it's possible. Buyers are in every room. This is who I am. This is what I'm looking for. Describe to your peers, this is what's happening. This is the result they seek. This is the gap I solve. And this is what makes me a must hire. Are you ready to go play? We're going to give you about 20 minutes to do this. Give me a second. I'm just going to set up the breakout rooms.